Hey, Doug Binder from DyeStat.com. We're getting ready for NXR Northwest this weekend up in Spokane, and I have with me Jayden Warner from Warrenton High School out on the Oregon coast. That's right next to Astoria, seaside area, and he was the fastest runner at the Oregon State meet on Saturday. I did a little research. It's the second time ever that kid from a small school has posted the fastest time of the day at the Oregon State Championships. The last time was 2009 when Cole Watson of Rogue River was the fastest of the day. He ended up going to the University of Oregon and running there. Jayden Warner was 46th at NXR Northwest last year, and he looks like a potential top five candidate here, certainly this weekend. Jane, thanks for giving me a little bit of your time. Super exciting to hear more about your story and how you've gotten into this position, because you've been kind of one of the revelations of the season in the Northwest. You spent your summer really elevating your running down in Texas with your mom. Can you tell me a little bit about how you spent your summer and some of the things that you did to get better?
Absolutely. So I would say the last few summers, like my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, kind of leading into those years, I didn't do a whole lot of training. There wasn't a lot of developmental training that I did. It was very kind of sporadic. I would do like maybe run 3 to 5 times a week. Sometimes I wouldn't run at all. So I didn't do a whole lot of work. But I ended up doing decent seasons. Nothing really like showing off, but decent seasons to, I still kind of progressed. But going into from my junior to senior year, that summer between, I just felt like I wanted more. And knowing that like my last season was, upon me, I decided, I want to put in the work. I want to put in the drive. And I decided to, while I lived in Oregon, go down and visit my mom in Texas, San Antonio. All my friends and family down there helped me train, and my mom built a workout plan for me. And I just kind of went down there and started building my miles up. Started with, 30 to 40, worked up to 50, 60. I even got up to 75 to 80 mile weeks with a lot of cross training, tons of tempos, thresholds, and hill work. And lots of lifting. That's the only thing that really kept me from, not having to deal with injury or anything that kind of set me back, was just a lot of cross training, a lot of lifting on top of that. And she built this perfect plan on top of her training for what she does. She also put a training plan for me. And so that was definitely a lot of work for her, but she was able to build this like almost perfect plan to make me successful.
Wow. So she is a well-known obstacle course runner, Spartan type races, ultras. So an endurance athlete. What sort of cross training? When you say cross training, I'm thinking, are you swimming? Are you riding the bicycle? Like, what does that look like?
I was in a gym doing, so there was some biking included, but no swimming. I was in a gym called Iron Fit in San Antonio. Awesome gym. And I was doing like tons of ski ergs. There was this bike, I forgot what it was called, but it's kind of has handlebars, tons of that, ski erg, rower, sled pushing, tons of lifting. And it would be workouts and circuits that would mix with running. It
Hmm.
sounds a lot like High Rocks and CrossFit and a little out of the picture for a cross country runner, but it has like developed me and changed me and to make me and helped me adapt to, difficulty. And it just kind of built my body. I think a big thing is, strength is key. And that built a lot of strength into me and, the ability just to be able to run hard for a long period of time. And that what kind of helped. It also helped my, cardiovascularly, built strong muscle fibers. It helped a lot. And just doing that continuously throughout the week on top of training, just running, it, kept me injury free and just got me strong.
Yeah, certainly made you a better athlete. So, how have you maintained that this last few months in Warrenton?
Yeah, so I kept the mileage high. I think dropping down from 80 to 75 mile weeks down to 60s. Progressively, I hit 170 and just mostly 65-mile weeks throughout the season. Still lifting, not really doing like cross training as much as I was, biking and just doing tons of injury prevention lifting and some strength lifting, a lot of explosive stuff, plyometrics. but stayed off of the kind of like that CrossFit circuit stuff because that stuff just drains you a lot. It was more to build. And so in season, I was more just doing cross training, injury prevention, lifting, building muscle, and then keeping my mileage high as well.
When you're in Warrenton, you must feel a little bit like you're on the edge of the earth, right? Like you come from San Antonio, and when you're in Warrenton, it's like you got the ocean right there, the Columbia River's right there. Like, how do you keep from feeling a little bit isolated?
Yeah, good question. I think some things that kind of go into that, and hopefully this answers that question. Um, in San Antonio, there's tons of people to run with. I had my mom, friends, and family, and I have a few people to run with here, but it's just not as easy, And so I think being isolated here and not having exactly a team that is, trying to develop and train. My team at Warrenton's awesome. They're very fun, but it's a little different because we're an incredibly small team. I think we have like 6 guys, and
Yeah.
they kind of come and go, and there's not a super development team. I think what keeps me kind of in the mix and keeps me in there from difference from San Antonio was my coach. My coach from Warrenton is awesome. Coach Jackson, he does a lot for me. He is a great guy. He was a runner himself. He competed at a college, and he did a lot of basketball, but he also was a really good mid-distance runner as well. And he just kind of knows what it's like to, run and, what it takes to train. And being an 800 runner is difficult. And I shout out to everyone that runs the 800 aggressively. That's a hard
Yeah.
event. So he definitely does a lot into my training and helps me develop and keeps me in the mix for sure.
You guys put together an amazing schedule, and I was hoping we could, step through that a little bit. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat is you went down to Ultimuck, and you ran 14:59 at Ultimuck, which if people don't know is a little bit like one of the courses your mom might run. Like it's got a big mud hole in it. You got to cross a river. It's a fun place to run. It's not necessarily we're going to run your fastest time of the year, but 14:59 when you ran 16:44 in the same race a year prior. That must have told you right away that that the game had changed for you, right?
Absolutely. Coming off the night meet before that race, that 3K, I definitely felt developed. I was like, man, this was a great race. Kind of sticking on behind Malachi, who's been an incredible competitor the last 2 years. And I think definitely that kind of was like, okay, I'm doing pretty good, but, I have to hold that title. I wanted to go into 5K and show that I can race. And the Ultimate was awesome. I had a great experience there. I was kind of going off the bat. There were some fast guys in that race, and I was like, okay, I'll just go off the bat and just rip it and see what happens, And it was a great race. I ran that time, and I was like, man, that felt really good. And so I was like, okay, course could have been short. You never know. It's a big race, but it's not like nationally known. So I was like, okay, next race, Meriwether, let me show that I can, like I'm a sub 15 guy. There's no excuse about it. So went out to run that race, and it was great. I ran 14:57 at Meriwether, and I was like, okay, I'm in the sub 15 zone. I secured it, and I kind of proved it. And so far throughout the races, it's been good. The schedule has been. I can't thank my coach enough. He's put me in some good races this year.
You went down to Woodbridge, which was seemed like an enlightened thing to do. You got in the rated race there, and you won that race, which is obviously it's a fast 3 miles race. You ran what was it, like 14:13 or something like that. Was there a point where you're like, I really wish I was in the championship race, but you did your thing in the rated race. Do you kind of wish in hindsight that you'd been in the big race?
I think before I even flew down there, when I was told that I was going to be into the rated race, I was like, okay. I was a little upset because I was definitely wanting to be in the top race. I felt like, maybe I didn't exactly prove myself last year, but I definitely felt like this year I've beat some guys who were in the sweepstakes race, and I want to show that I definitely deserve to be there. And so, if they put me in the rated, that's okay. And I think there was still plenty of competition. Maybe not what I wanted, but go out there, and I think it's about throwing down the time, and if I have to race alone, I have to race alone. So I just went out there, opened up. There was guys with me. I think about halfway the race, it kind of started kind of splitting off, and it was more about racing the clock. I had some buddies kind of like yell out sometimes throughout the course, and I was like, okay, just keep kind of grinding. So, yeah, absolutely wanted to be in the sweepstakes, but I feel like it was more about running a hard race, racing alone if I have to, but also the experience. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
one of the best experiences I've had all season. That was such a cool place.
Winning the rated race may have actually given you a little more, your name a little bit more buzz than if you'd gotten like ninth in the sweepstakes race, because you
I
won
agree.
that race and it's like, wow, where's this kid from? From Warrenton, Oregon? That's crazy. So good on you for doing that. You also went to the Rose City Championships where you had that very close race with Malachi again, 14:39 there. And then 6 days later, you went to McMinnville and you ran at the Joe Dancer Park there and ran 14:36. Now that's a fairly new meet and a fairly new course, but you broke the course record there by more than a minute, which is crazy. So, how good did you feel about that race?
Um, yeah, the Grant Robbins that one was awesome. In McMinnville, that was incredible. Super flat. It was a super nice course. I don't think anyone really knows this, but it had hay bale leaps, believe it or
Yeah,
not. So it was a 2 lap course, and each lap had three hay bale leaps, and so 6 in total. These were not big hay bales. I'm talking like it doesn't really throw off your form. It was very, very tiny. But it was still awesome. It was a super cool experience. It was great to run that time. There were some good competitors in there as well. Ty Serino, he was an incredible junior. He's dealing with some injury, but he's bouncing back pretty well this year.
yeah.
But it was a great race. I enjoyed it. It was experience it was awesome. It was great to PR. It was pretty consistent splits, and I wasn't too sure if I was going to come in a PR, but I saw the clock coming down the finish line. I was like, oh, I can get it. And so I ended up getting a few seconds off from Rose City.
Yeah. The race that we now can now look back on and go, okay, that race has got a lot of the players that are going to be in the lead pack in Spokane was Nike Portland XC. Now you got fifth at Nike Portland XC, but you were 2/10 of a second behind Cohen Butler, who went on to win Hole in the Wall. He went on to break the 4A record on Saturday up in Pasco at the Washington State meet. Yosuke Shibata and Malachi were just a little bit in front of you at that race as well. All four of you guys seem like you're going to be, among the group that's going to be trying to qualify for nationals. Do you feel like that must be another experience that you're going to be kind of leaning on as you get into the weekend?
Absolutely, yeah. Cohen Butler is an incredible competitor. He did incredible at OSA or Washington State meet. He did awesome there. I definitely think that there's some top guys that are going to be there. Malachi, that South Eugene, the guy, he's incredible. They threw down at State. That was super cool to watch. But just kind of going into there, I think, being in that mix is going to be great. I think they're all super high competitors, and just kind of being with them, I'm just glad to be at this level with them as well. It was definitely not in my picture book from last year, and so I'm excited that I get to compete with these top guys. It was definitely different. I definitely didn't think I was going to be in the mix of possibly qualifying for NXN this year. It was definitely a dream, but wasn't sure if it was going to be reality.
Yeah, yeah. What have these results done to your recruiting profile?
These results,
Like the last couple months worth of like breakout 14-minute races. Like I don't know what you were looking at in the summer in terms of the coaches that you were talking to, but have things changed dramatically for you in the last 8 weeks?
absolutely. The recruiting process has been sporadic. I wasn't talking to a whole lot of colleges last year. I was talking to a few lower level schools that were still great, kind of local. But this year has been a huge difference. I think after once Nike Portland was finished, that's when it kind of started jumping a little bit. I've been talking to incredible schools. It's been sporadic and very new to me. I haven't been very used to this college process. I learned a lot of things. I learned and developed a lot of how to handle this and kind of just adapt. I've also had to reach out to a lot of people, and not only family and people that have experiences, but also friends and even people at my age on my level. I've spoken to a few people Shout out to Malachi. He's helped me a lot, and a few people there have helped me, and I couldn't appreciate it more. It's definitely these huge decisions, like whatever college you pick, it's most likely going to be the college you spend the next 4 or 5 years with, and it's a big decision, and I look at it more as like the coaching and the team rather than the school, and I think it's a huge thing. It's like I've had these incredible coaches and teams I get to meet and talk to, and it's been awesome. And so I think the last 8 weeks have been awesome, but also a little stressful. But it's an opportunity, and it's a blessing, and so I just have to be happy for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everyone should pay some attention to this kid, Jayden Warner, the eighth boy in Oregon high school history to go under 15 minutes at Lane Community College. And that's a list that includes Rupp and Matthew Maton and Gorzy and Kitchen, and it's a pretty exclusive group. So congratulations on that. And we will see you in Spokane, Jayden. I appreciate your time tonight, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.